everyone, it's the Apartment Scraper. Today we're going to be discussing one of the most commonly scrapped items. Pretty much every scrapper ever has encountered one of these. That is this, a microwave magnetron. We're going to be talking about the simplest way to scrap it, and bonus, we're going to be doing it without power tools. So the magnetron is going to be primarily steel, but there is a little bit of aluminum, a little bit of brass, and then a decent sized chunk of copper in here as well. And pretty famously, there's magnets. This is one I've removed from another magnetron. I've got a whole row of them, but every magnetron will have two. So the first thing you want to do is isolate the parts of your magnetron. So we have this box, which is going to be steel. In here are some copper coils. You'll have two magnets, a steel housing. These fins are going to be aluminum, and then underneath them is a chunk of copper. If you remove these fins in the housing, you're going to be left with something like this. This is actually a chunk of copper, this gray thing. If I take my file and rough it up, you should be able to see that nice coppery color there. So the way to get this is really just take your grinder, cut it here and here, and you'll have a nice chunk of copper. I'm not going to be doing that in this video because it's already getting pretty late in the evening and I don't want to disrupt my neighbors any more than I have to. But step one is going to be looking at your magnetron and finding the seam. Now if you see, there are these clip points on both sides where this top plate clips into the rest. If you look on one side, you'll see that one of them is a little bit kind of shallower than the other. On the side, it's this one. You can see from that fin to there, there's just a really short distance. You could cut that with an angle grinder. I'm going to use a hacksaw. So if I take a hacksaw, give it a real quick chop. You see there, and then this will come right out. And then occasionally, like this one, you'll have to do the other side as well. Sometimes it'll just pop right off. This one's going to be a little bit more finicky, but that's not a big deal. Totally possible to do this with an angle grinder. You could do this much faster with power tools. But once you've done that, this piece will just pop right off. This is a piece of steel, so throw that with the rest of your steel and you'll be left with this. Now this top magnet is pretty easy to remove. Sometimes you can just pull it off. This one you can. Sometimes you'll have to stick a screwdriver or something under there and pry up on it a little bit. But that one just popped right off. Then you feel like you should be able to separate these two, but you cannot. What you'll have to do is pull on it pretty strongly. And you'll be able to see in there these soldered on kind of points. Take something like a pair of diagonal cutters and sneak them in there and just cut those points off. You'll have to pull on it pretty hard to snip them off, but once you do, you will be left with these. So this is your second magnet. You can just pull that off. Do as you wish with it, and then you'll see these coils of copper in there. Grab some needle nose pliers. I like these like bent nosed ones, but regular ones work fine. Grab it and just kind of pull it out. You'll kind of have to maybe wiggle it a little bit. There will be this little like cylinder that falls out. These are steel. They can just go in your steel pile. But pull it out as far as you can. Grab your cutters, cut it off. There's a piece of number 2 copper. Your other one will be exactly the same. Just grab and pull till you can't anymore. Cut it off. Another little piece of number 2. Then the rest of this can just go in the steel pile. Now you're left with this guy, kind of the central part. You can see these fins. As I said, they are aluminum. The easiest way that I have found to do these: take a screwdriver, stick it in there, pry up on one, which will pry down on the others. Then grab some snips, cut it, you'll see there's a little collar there. You can probably see this little bit on the bottom. You'll want to make sure to cut through that. You'll kind of have to take the tip of your cutters and drag it against that. But once you do, you can just kind of peel it right off, and that's a nice little piece of clean sheet aluminum. Then grab your screwdriver, stick it in between, stick it in under the next layer, pry up while you push the others down to create space for your snips. Go in there, give it a nice cut, and peel it off. There you go. And then you'll just repeat that process. This video is going to be in real time, just so that you can see how quick this is. Really does not take long at all. We're just barely 6 minutes into the video and we're already almost done. Sometimes that collar on the bottom, I don't know what to call it, but I'm going to call it a collar. It's going to be a little bit hard to cut through, but you should be able to get it. It's pretty thin stuff. Be careful, of course, this is going to be, these sheets, especially where you cut them, are going to be pretty sharp. So I would suggest a good pair of gloves, or even a decent pair of gloves. Once you get to the last couple layers, you might flip it over and go at it from the other side, so that you have less to kind of pry it off of, you know, the bottom versus the top. Pull it off, and then the last one sometimes you can just kind of bang off, and this one you can see I just actually push it out. I don't even have to cut it, and you're left with this guy. Again, if you cut it here and here, this chunk is a nice bit of copper. You could clean it up into number 1. I would probably just cut it there, call it number 2, and throw the 2 cutoffs into the steel pile. But it's a quick and easy way to scrap a microwave magnetron for copper, aluminum, and steel. So thanks for watching.